everyone. Now we are going to start the basic value of constitution. So here the basic value of constitution of an enshrine social, political, economic philosophy. Sovereignty of the people, rule of law, basic characteristic of the socialist secular democratic republic. So the preamble. What I am talking about, the preamble of Indian Constitution declare India as a sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic. And these words show the basic value of Constitution of India. And the word sovereign means that both externally and internally India is a sovereign nation. Socialist means that the people will have equitable share of country's resources, thereby securing economic rights. And the word secular preamble implied that the state would not support any religion or public funds, nor would it penalize the profession and practice of any religion or the right to manage religious institution. Further, the democracy implied that government is popularly elected and the constitutional ensure the protection of fundamental rights. And the word republic means government whose head is elected by the people. So next in the concept are social, political, economic rights, which are enshrined Article 38 of Constitution. The state shall strive to promote the welfare of people by securing the protection effectively a social order in which justice, social, economic, political shall inform all the institution of national life. The rule of law, Article 14 states will equality before law and there will not be any kind of discrimination. Thus it is clear Constitution of India contains all the provisions that show the basic values essential for the citizen to prosper and develop. Question number 2. Not the Potomac, but the Thames fertilize the flow of Yamuna in the light of statement, comment, symbolic institution of President of India. The statement points toward not the Potomac. Potomac is the river of USA, but the Thames river is in London. Fertilize the flow of Yamuna. Yamuna is the Indian river. Okay. So the statement points toward the prime ministerial and parliamentary form of government that India chose instead of presidential form. In India, president is although the executive head of the state and government, but his institution is just symbolic. Under Article 72 of the Constitution, it is said that there will be Council of Ministry to add and advise to President. This means that the President do not have any discretion and he will have to work according to the advice of Council of Ministry. In Britain also monarch has been symbolic head who work according to the advice of Council of Ministry. But in Washington there is presidential form of government where the president is the actual and highest executive authority. The president has the power to appoint ministry, attorney general, chief justice of India, member of UPSC, chief election commission and other election commission, finance commission, etc. But all the appointments are done according to the advice of council of ministry, and this is line with the British model of governance. But in USA the president himself appoint all the highest official and they should be ratified the Senate. At the same time, when the emergency is thrown the country, the president act on the advice of COM, and there are a few provisions where president can show his discretion, but that too is very limited. This show that the Indian president is the symbolic institution which is a symbol to the Thames and not with Potomac like London, not the Washington. Okay, got my point. Describe the changing character of the public service. Public service. See, the bureaucracy in India is product of two different influence: British tradition of past and democratic welfare state of present. The bureaucracy created by British to maintain the imperial tradition of colonial government was a remarkable administrative legacy. Public service is essential for the functioning of the government. The public service has long been regarded as the steel frame of administration in India. Right from colonial day, the civil service is expected to give continuity. Change to the administration, public service expanded under the explicit political directions. Response to the radical change which have taken place the nature of growth of government functions during the colonial period. Public service was doing only regulatory work and maintenance of law and order. But there is a change in character of civil servant. India changed to welfare state from policy state. democratic setup and vigorous attempts have been made to ensure decentralization, development, responsibility, public consciousness, free expression of public opinion. The social composition of public service also underwent a change. Earlier, public service was confined to upper strata. Now, due to speed of education, reservation of seats, a more egalitarian setup has emerged. In post-independent period, a Kothari have observed the administrative apparatus become the bulwark for stability. Administration become the basis of political authority. Shortly afterwards, government activity proliferated tremendous as the era of planned development was inaugurated with complex set of program and machinery. In the recent time, there has been accelerated change globally, both about by technological advance, greater decentralization, social activism. These changes are being felt by government, increasing expectation for better government, efficiency, delivery, transparency, accountability, rule of law. The public service as the primary arm of government must keep pace with the changing times in order to meet the aspiration of the people. The changes in the economy also create a need for specialists at various jobs with rapidly advancing technology, high degree of specialization, and country can no longer afford to put journalists in position requiring specialist skill. After liberalization, globalization, privatization, role of the government has changed from doer to facilitator. This has an effect on the role played by civil servant. They cannot be status quo. They have to be change oriented. Their role expanded. The concept of neutrality, neutral to government policy, but have to be innovative. And not only police public service, but people participation is important. Even market participation is also increasing. And since independence, on rough count, more than 600 committees are at the central state level have been set up. According to the recommendation of committee, many changes have both in the public service, and public service has to be proactive. So now next question is values. Values in the Indian administration must be rooted in the preamble. So it is talking about the preamble of Indian Constitution. So preamble of Indian Constitution is influenced by the US Constitution. Although in various decisions Honorable Supreme Court of India is not considered as part of Constitution. However, in Keshwanand Bharti state of Kerala case, it has been recognized as part of Constitution, but neither it nor any of the content is legally enforceable. However, it serves as the guiding light of the Constitution, and judge interrupt the Constitution in its light. The preamble of India Constitution is read as we the people of India having solemnly resolved to constitute India into the sovereign, socialist, secular, democratic republic, and to secure to all the citizens justice, social, economic, political, liberty of thoughts, expression, belief, faith, worship, equality of status and opportunity, and to promote among them all fraternity, assuming the dignity of individual and unity and integrity of the nation. And in our Constitution Assembly this 26th day of November 1949 to hereby adopt, enact and give to ourselves the Constitution. Adopt, enact and give to ourselves the Constitution. So this reading and interpreting the preamble of the Constitution of India itself signify very goal to achieve by the Indian administration, which gets their authority from the people of India. It clearly depicts the basis of governance, sovereignty, socialism, generalism, democracy, republic. Also highlight the objective justice, social, economic, political equality of status, opportunity, liberty of thought, expression, faith, belief, worship, unity and integrity, dignity of individual. Thus preamble act as a guiding force for not only the judiciary while interpreting constitutional provision, but for the administration too. Now the next question is, the more developed administrative system become the greater the likelihood that it would have developmental effect. Okay, administrative system and development effect to be identified. Next, the thrust of development administration failed to energize the Indian bureaucracy. Development administration correlation with the Indian bureaucracy. So how it energized the Indian bureaucracy and why it is failed to energize the Indian bureaucracy. Now we are giving the answers. In the any developed administrative system, there is a high degree of specialization. In Rick's terms, this is highly differentiated political system. But very high level of specialization lead to occupational ego, which is main disadvantage of the developed administrative system. Moreover, there will not be any generalist bureaucrats and everybody will be specialists. There will not any change of mobility or interoperability of expert as they are distinct in their specialized. The public service is large scale, complex, instrumental. Its mission is to carry out the policies, political decision making. Moreover, the bureaucracy is not human in nature. It's become more instrumental, carrying out jobs as it become more professional. Popular interest and involvement in public affairs. A high degree of politicization, so the population is mobilized by the intensive participation, decision making, executing process. This led to unwanted and frequent interruption and functioning of the government machinery as it has to satisfy the public view, and also the public has very diversified view which won't go hand in hand mostly. The next question was thirst of development administration failed to energize the Indian bureaucracy. Development administration is essentially change oriented. In context of India, it both flexible, adaptable administration to meet quickly the changing circumstances. But the bureaucracy in India, which is status quo oriented, failed to be flexible. It remains soulless, inflexible, seemed to be unsuited to the dynamic needs of the social transformation. The creation of Panchayat Raj municipalities, 73rd and 74 Amendment has certainly undermined the wholes of bureaucracy. The creation of District Planning Committee made the office of District Collector void of many functions and status and authority which are core bureaucratic hierarchy needs to replace by service motivation development bureaucracy. But traditional bureaucracy never thought that they were servant of public. They considered themselves as those bosses and masses. Structurally, the emphasis of hierarchy was being suggested to get rid of conventional organizational pyramid, which leads to centralization, creates tension, interpersonal conflict. But Indian bureaucracy, like maintained to conventional organization structure, it reluctant to divert decision-making power. So it is general tendency of Indian bureaucracy that it wants to get rid of development administration. The creation of development administration does not energize Indian bureaucracy to that extent that it is implemented fully. Next is over dependence on bureaucracy for bringing about socio-economic development in India has proven in dysfunctional. It is generally agreed by the concern all the new policies of economic reform, liberalization still require massive presence of government in livelihood sector, health, primary education, poverty alleviation, and unfortunately little thoughts have been given to the capacity building of government functionary with the view of improved performance. Bureaucracy in India is considered to have the following characteristics: too large and slow, extremely rigid and mechanical, consequently not flexible and adaptive to cope with change, not innovative and enterprising, low motivation, low moral accountability is low, not democratic, lack of expertise. The classical solution which is advocated in such situation is to change the term at which interaction takes place and between the politicians and civil servants so that corruption and misuse of power turns from low risk and high reward to high risk and low reward. This change can brought about the several ways by ensuring stability, tenure, ensuring transparency, like social auditing, empowerment of grassroots level capacity building, downsizing, implementing the second ARC, emphasizing the professionalism. Next, explain. Explain with appropriate illustrate the interface between political culture and bureaucratic culture in contemporary India. So policy and administration are complementary and supplementary to each other. If it affects both in India, the relationship between administration and political leadership should be understood by a perspective. The relationship is defined by position of minister in the cabinet as well as social political culture. As for by the political environment as stable and healthy, then the position of political minister strengthened. While it is the undergoing in crisis, then it is bureaucracy which uphold the reign. The colonial legacy and native of the bureaucracy also affect the functioning of the bureaucracy. While ministers enjoy the mandate people, so the seasoned bureaucrats and the inexperienced laymen leadership sometimes try to impose their authorship over each other, but ultimately both are guided by constitution. Of constitution in the source of bureaucratic and political culture. from where both derive their authority. So this chapter was basically